everyone, and welcome to the Shonky Lab once again. I'm Elton McManus, and this week I am joined by Matt. Hello, Matt.
Yes. Oh, hello. It seems every other show decides to say introduce me by first and last, or just first name. So I guess I was off my track there. I was expecting last name, which is part of that delay. So hello.
I do apologize for that.
No. Last name. It's not necessary. I just get in apparently a rhythm I didn't realize I was in until just now.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No, it's me. It's my poor introductions to these sort of things. I am proper bobbins at this sort of thing. But
no worries.
We'll carry on. We've also got Jim.
Hello.
And we've got Greg with the rubbish Skype. Greg.
Wow. That's real bad.
It is really bad. Greg, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, right. Just bleep at us when you want to say something.
Hello.
Oh dear. What a wonderful way to start things. Anyway, yes, we're here to talk about roller coasters this week. So I want to kick this off. Matt, you have a podcast called Attraction Obsession.
Yes.
I take it from that you love roller coasters and attractions and so forth.
Oh yeah. That is probably the what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought, but absolutely yes. I mean, it's a huge, I guess, a part of my life in a sense. I live in Orlando, so I'm smack dab between the major Orlando parks, Disney, Universal. I'm a stone's throw away from Tampa, which has their roller coaster parks, and I'm very fortunate enough to be married to a woman who loves them as much as I do, and we arrange at least one, if not two, vacations or holidays around visiting a park with roller coasters that we've never been on before. So yes, to put it mildly, which is what I was looking for, yes, they are a big part of my life.
You live in the happiest place in the world, apparently.
I live in what is advertised as the happiest place in the world, yes.
And Jim,
there's
you live
visiting and then there's living.
Yeah. Jim, you live in one of the rainiest parts of the world, don't you?
I do. In the north of England, where there are probably no roller coasters, actually.
It's where ducks go to commit suicide sometimes.
Wow.
That's true, but I have been to Orlando many, many times. And for my sins in my youth, I did work in a fun fair.
Oh.
And got to see the fun things happen behind the scenes at theme parks.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
So you know the ins and outs of things.
It's frightening.
After this, will anyone be wanting to get on a roller coaster?
Probably. I mean, it's not put me off going to theme parks, provided they're run by professionals, not by the cowboys in every sense of the word, in the one I work for.
Oh, Jesus Christ! This is getting scarier by the second.
which is now gone. It's now gone. It's been razed to the ground, and the land has been sowed with salt. It no longer exists. Which is why I can badmouth them with impunity, because what are they going to do? Fire me?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, Matt, have you ever worked in, what would you call them? Roller coaster parks? Attraction parks? I'm not too sure. Amusement parks?
Yeah, over here, I don't know if this is a worldwide term, but it's for like the big Disney, the multiple, and Universal, the multiple areas that are grandiosely schemed and themed. They're commonly referred to as theme parks. The parks that are just have rides, but nothing really centered around them as a theme, are amusement parks. So it's theme parks and amusement parks are the two most common words.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, I actually never have.
Ah, so you've never seen backstage, never pulled back the curtain.
Well, I have. It's hard not to live in this area as long as I have and not come in contact with people that work with them. So I've made a lot of close friends, not because they're in theme parks, but, well, not because they're not working for theme parks, but I've made a lot of close friends that do a lot of the deep behind-the-scenes work and have gotten the opportunity to see how some of these things work, and sometimes not for the better, as we've already alluded to.
Yeah. Okay. Greg, I'm wondering if you're still there at all.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
We can just about hear you. You may want to raise the baked bean can to your mouth a little bit more, though. He's going to smash his computer up in a minute.
Oh, man.
I get the feeling that you're going to smash your computer up very soon. Well, anyway, I'll let Greg chime in when he can chime in. Greg, just shout stuff, obscenities, or whatever you wish, just to get through to us. Because I really want you on it. Basically, the reason why we're doing roller coasters today, oh, he's dropped off again, is I put out the call when I relaunched Shonky Lab. I put out the call for people to come along and say, do you want to do a show with me? Would you like to do a show with me? And Greg was one of the first people that said, yeah, okay, let's do roller coasters. I'm also looking forward to the show that I do with him about the internet as well. And internet providers, maybe. I don't know. Yes, so he put it forward. So I really want Greg on here because I know that he's a roller coaster fanatic. He's been on millions of rides. I don't know how many rides he's taken, but I know that he's been on various, and he's travelled around the country chasing roller coasters and chasing that thrill as well. I'll lay my cards on the table right now. I flipping hate them. I really, really hate them. I get no fun out of queuing up for hours. I get no fun out of watching children be violently ill after they've been on these rides. I get no fun from watching children crying and moaning at their parents. Why can't I go on that ride? Why can't I go over there? Why am I too small? Why won't I fit on the bubble works? And so, yeah, I like going to these places to hold people's coats. I'm very good at that. So
never get a job as a ride operator, Elton, because what you described there was my working day for 13 hours for weeks on end.
Just watching children
cry, be sick, fight.
I actually take advantage of everything you talk about, and we kind of make a impromptu scavenger hunt every time we go to the park, and whichever finds the most of what you just laid out. We don't really win a prize, but it's a nice friendly bet and a way to pass the time and get less annoyance out of those types of people.
Oh, it's like a real life version of Where's Waldo or Where's Wally, isn't
right?
it?
Yeah.
Where's the binoculars? There they are, over there. Someone's dropped some. Oh,
there's always a 5-point instant bonus, especially at Disney World, when for the first person to hear any parent say, "Do you know how much me, your father, and or mother paid for this trip?"
Oh, brilliant. Oh, no. I'd love to hear that. And, Mickey and Donald and all the people that dress up in them sort of costumes as well. They must hear tons and tons of that crap all the time.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
You've got to have such a thick skin to keep that smile on your face. I'm sure they're swearing behind the big heads and thinking, just fuck off, little child. Don't tread on my foot again, please, honestly.
So I remember at Disney, all the staff you see, they aren't ride operators or servers, they're all cast members.
Correct.
Ah.
Yes, I mean, at the Tin Pot theme park I worked on, it was a cowboy themed park called Frontierland, run by crooks and incompetents. They had the goal to show us, for our staff training, a Disney training video circa about 1970, which was kind of hilarious compared to being shown to a room of like ex-cons, ne'er-do-wells, and broke students who are working there for the summer, which I was. And this whole thing that you're all part of the cast, you're all part of one big production. You have to play your role, helping people's dreams come true. Which I imagine, now actually, that probably plays just as well to disgruntled disemployees in Florida as it does to disgruntled employees in the north of England.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, what is it about the rides that you crave the rides, or do you just enjoy the atmosphere when you go to these sort of places?
I'm about the rides. I mean the atmosphere is pretty impressive. The things, the new areas that are opening they are stunning. I can't take that away from it. But if there's not a good ride within that atmosphere, there's no reason for me to go. So I'm always looking for the next ride, be it a mechanical achievement, be it going faster or higher or upside down more than the last one, or something inside that's technically never been done. That's what I'm always chasing after down here and pretty much everywhere we go.
Wow, and do you get like a massive buzz off of them?
I enjoy them. I wouldn't say I get. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know that I get that much of a rush off of it. I get the rush during the ride. It's impossible to control my adrenaline, but when it's over, pretty much by the time I'm out of the gift shop, it's gone. So I don't know. Maybe I am chasing some kind of dragon on these that I'm not aware of because it goes so fast. That could be a possibility.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I would so dearly love to want that craving. Flipping out, it sounds like I want an addiction on them. But
so you don't enjoy them like as a physical experience either? Because what you explained about not liking it, you certainly explained a visit to a park that is certainly cumbersome and can get annoying real quick. But you don't physically enjoy being on these rides either?
It's the thing of not being in control. It's now right. Okay, let's chop it down a little bit more. I can't drive in the car with my parents anymore.
Okay.
Because at one point it felt weird me driving my parents around, and now no, it's the norm. I drive you. You're not driving me. Let me drive you, because otherwise it freaks me the crap out.
Okay.
And it's just more the control thing of not having a big red button where I can hit it and say, stop, please. I'm going up 45 degrees here. This is abnormal. I don't like this. And what's that clicking going on? What the hell's that? That's scaring the crap out of me. And I just don't know. It scares the living bejesus. Once I'm going fast in a straight line, that's fine. I can deal with that. It's the sheer terror of dying on one of these things. I know I'm not going to die on one of these things, but it's just the sheer terror of not being in control, not being able to slow myself down. Well, you say that,
Elton, but I mean,
on,
for me, I mean, I can tell you some stories that will really put you up for life, because you can die on these things.
Oh, shit.
Admittedly, I think generally you have to be really stupid to do it. But I mean, for me, when I was younger, it was like, give me the biggest roller coaster, give me your biggest, most terrifying ride, and now I'm much more kind of, oh yeah, that's good, yeah. How's it? Big Thunder Mountain, Magic Kingdom, yeah, fine. The Brer Rabbit one, fine. Atlantis at SeaWorld, fine. That one they have at Busch Gardens, one there for the desert. Oh, is it Kiri? Where you're hanging from the top of it, and it does a near vertical. That's it. Yeah, there's a nearly near vertical drop. That can fuck right off. No, I'm not putting myself through that.
I couldn't get there fast enough when that opened.
So if I'd been a few years younger, you'd have had to fight to keep me off that. But just at some point after I turned 40, something went in my head. It was kind of like, oh no. It's the actual dropping I'm fine with. What frightens me is I know I've got a long queue for me to get nervous, and then the long crawl up to the first big drop. And it's that anticipation that I think might do my heart in now.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I got off a ride and went, that may have been a little too much for me, was this year. Speaking of getting older, God, I hate this topic so much, but I guess now you put that in my head.
Well, we'll do a show on that later if you want.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That for the first time ever in my life, I went to we went to Magic Mountain in California, in Valencia, California. For the first time, I got off a ride going, that may have been a little too much. I don't think I'm going to do that again. It was called X2. Have you guys seen anything about that?
No, but
I've been on that, Matt. Yeah.
Okay. That was the first time
I went on it when it was X1 before they refitted it with new trains. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was the last thing we went on, which is probably a mistake. I mean, we were well in the vertigo of everything else, and that's how we finished our day. I got off going, that might have been too much, and I didn't like that feeling.
Well, we went there in 2005 with the Roller Coaster Club, so we had an exclusive ride session on Goliath.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And open, and one ride was enough, even for me.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I'm happy to say I did it and don't need to do it again.
Holy crap, I've just seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it on?
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know what it that don't know what it is, I mean, picture
rotate as the ride goes.
Exactly, yeah. Picture already a pretty serious roller coaster as far as the track goes, but now the seats on the outside spin completely independently of that.
Do they spin just willy-nilly, wherever they want to spin, or they're programmed to spin at certain points?
Yes, which might actually be worse because they spin complete opposite direction of what your equilibrium is expecting, I think, or trying to adjust for.
Oh my word! See, that does not. Sorry, Greg. Go on. Go on, Greg. You can do it.
Down the vertical. The first drop is vertical, but as you go down, the train turns the seat to face straight down as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're head first upside down.
So are you going backwards at points?
At point, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see, I don't like going backwards on trains. Why would I want to do it upside down?
Well, on this, because it's a rotation, when you're backwards, you're also upside down.
Oh my god!
Even though the car itself is, well, I suppose if the car is upside down and it rotates you could be backwards and right. Oh man, now we're talking. Wow, this is complicated geometry here. I'm not sure how that would work, but at times you're backwards and upside down.
You're going to start off the front of the train. Yeah, messes your head. That's a weird one.
Flipping hell! So your body is expecting. Let's say you're expecting to roll all the way forwards, and so the track would roll forwards, and yet the computer will send your body to go backwards as your body is also free falling forwards.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's bonkers. You're never going to get me on that. There's no way. No way, man. I can just about do. I don't know if Matt's ever heard of these, but the vampire ride in Chessington. Now that is the weak arsest thing in this country. There are bus rides more scary than this.
Matt, that would be the same as Ninja at Magic Mountain.
Okay, then. Yes.
Where it just swings gently under the track.
Yeah, yes.
So, the kind of ride you would take your grandma on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we found Elton's level.
Well, I think with the vampire ride, the thing I can get on board with, it is quite low to the ground. And as you come up and you go up the hill, the ground is still very close to you. So you don't feel like you're climbing up into the sky at quite a rate. And so when it goes, you're pretty much it's more like a go-kart run than an actual roller coaster thing. So it's very fast, very rapid, but close to the ground. You're hugging the ground, left and rights and loops and what have you. That's fine because it's the height that probably kills me as well, and the anticipation of climbing up as well. I swear, if they had red buttons next to you that you could say, stop, I want to get off, I'm probably the reason why they don't put them on there.
So you need to go on something
like
a
roller coaster with ejector seats.
That would be nice.
You need something like Top Thrill Dragster then, Elton, which starts at the ground level.
Yeah.
And goes up to 420 feet, but you're up and over it in 7 seconds because it launches you at 0 to 120 miles an hour in 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bloody hell.
So it's flat out up to 120, up 400 feet over the top and down the other side, and then it's over.
Is that very similar to the Superman ride?
It's like that, but with a lot more clout.
Yeah, Superman goes and comes back. Well, how should I say? It goes up and down from where it came, whereas
It's like an
Top Thrill
L-shaped
Dragster is a
track, isn't it?
continuous loop.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Superman, you're shot out and you go up,
And
then
you
you
come back the same way.
Oh, right. Okay.
Top Thrill Dragster, you go up and over the top, like over an arch, and then down on the other side.
I think I've seen videos of this. Is it got the It's got the start lights on it as well, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it goes up.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, I've been on it once when we got a rollback where the train gets almost to the top and just not quite enough speed, and then rolls back again. So you're going backwards at 120. Back down the tower.
I've heard of rollbacks. I've seen a rollback. I've never actually been on. I'm sorry, I haven't. I've seen them on TV. I've not seen one in real life nor been on one. So that's another one of my white whales I've yet to experience.
Okay,
we were praying for one. I got one.
Right.
So a rollback.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're playing pinball.
We're not talking about your foreskin.
No. Not this time, anyway.
No.
I'm putting it to something else. Pinball machines. A rollback would be if you didn't shoot the ball out of the top of the pinball machine and it rolled back down the carriage where it went.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
There's a video on YouTube of Dragster where the train was just going fast enough to get to the top and then stopped and was perfectly balanced on the apex of the hill. I think the people were up there for about 20 minutes before they sent an engineer up to give it a show.
Oh my god, I've not seen that one. Holy crap!
There's a video of it on YouTube.
What?
I gotta find that.
And there's an engineer goes up there and pushes it.
Yeah, there's a lift that goes at the back of the tower, and you can see him on the video go up, and then he just gives it a nudge, and off it goes. It just happened to stop perfectly balanced at the apex of the hill.
What?
1 in a million chance, but it did it.
Why would you want... Oh, my God. Right, okay, so you're on a ride.
No, I wouldn't want that to happen. I'd want the rollback to happen.
Wait, you got a man...
You want him to push you back or push you forwards?
Well, which is ever most convenient for him if I've been stuck up there for 20 minutes at that point.
So you're stuck on a roller coaster, and a man in dungarees and a spanner walks all the way up and goes, looks at you, starts tutting, goes, that doesn't look good, and then pushes you.
Pretty much.
This is hoping he's not on break when you make the call, too, of course.
That's it, yeah.
Walking up there with a sandwich hanging out of his mouth.
I've been stuck on rides a number of times.
Wow.
I've been on over 500 coasters, so I've been stuck on a few from time to time. It's no big deal.
I've never been stuck on a coaster. I've been stuck on a lot of dark rides, though.
I got stuck on Space Mountain in Orlando.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they took us off. We had to get off halfway through and walk through. They put all the lights on, and we had to get out and walk.
I actually would have loved
walk through the. It was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it.
I would have loved to do that. Yep.
And then you get free exit passes for the rest of the park.
I'm just Googling Space Mountain because I have no idea what that looks like.
It's indoor roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
Very good though. Very, very well done Disney ride. Lots of theming.
Okay, so is there like a lot of height to this then?
What do you say, mate? It's not overly huge, is it? Really?
No, it's.
Well, I think the fact that it's in the dark and they have a lot of trains running at the same time. I think there's 2 tracks in there run together, so it looks like there's a lot more going on than there is.
In the initial, that's the thing. They use the dark to their advantage. If you had the lights on, you were on that ride, it'd be pretty relaxed.
As Disney coasters go, they're all generally quite tame. They just use the theming to give it the wow factor.
Right.
Mm.
Whereas a lot of the other parks just go for size or speed or number of inversions or whatever else.
Right. Okay. See, I know I've been on the Vampire ride. I've also been on Colossus, and I didn't enjoy that whatsoever.
That's because it's a sack of old shit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Should I just stick to the coconut shies?
Is this Colossus in Thorpe Park? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on that too. That was a long wait and a little bit of a disappointment at the end.
Is that the one that I'm really scratching my brain at the moment? But that's the one that rolls, isn't it? It's got like
that's the part I was
loops.
looking forward to, and I don't know why it didn't. I mean, it was the physical thing I wanted it to be, but for some reason, it just didn't give me that rush I was expecting. I don't know why.
Okay, so is there anything you haven't ridden then, Matt?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's lots where I haven't been, but as far as a type of ride, if there's any type that I wouldn't ride, I can't think of. I'll ride anything once to, even if it's my most terrifying is probably something that starts out super high, like those ones that tote you up real high and then drop you. Those are the ones I like least. But if it's one I've not been on before, I'll go on it. So I'll go on just about anything.
Right. What about you, Greg?
I was Matt, been to Vegas.
Vegas, I went to. The only one I did in Vegas was Insanity, the one that it spins around, but first the arm takes you out over the top of the building and then spins you around. That's all we had. We had time for one. That one looked the most interesting of the three that were open, so that's the one I did. I did not do the big shot, which is the launch
on the other side of the tower.
Yeah, no, that one I did. That would be my last of the three if we're doing all three, probably, because that looked like the most adrenaline rush one. But we really only had time for the one, and that one looked most unique. So we went on Insanity.
Okay, so is this the one that hangs you?
Scared the Jesus out of me.
Sorry, Greg, go on. Greg? No, he's gone.
Which is the one that's over town, but I didn't go on. He's gone.
No, okay. Is that the one that hangs you over? Is it the one at the top of a building?
Yes, at the top of the. What is it? The stratosphere. Kind of looks like the Space Needle in Seattle, or the CV in Canada and Toronto.
Yeah. See, yeah, I can do the climate. Right, okay, Matt, I'm a lift engineer, so you would think that I would be used to heights.
Right, yes.
Yeah, it would be kind of part of the job. The problem is, with my job, I don't get to see the bottom. I'm either too high or too close to it. So it's like Eddie Murphy in The Golden Child when he throws that coin down and it doesn't hit the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm fine, so I can't see the bottom. So that, I've got no worries there. But
You can see the ground on this.
no, see, I could go up to the building. That's fine. But then why the hell would I want to ride a roller coaster at the top of the building? That's just mental.
I was the complete opposite in that building, and I don't know why. When we got to the building, to the observation deck, I was sick to my stomach of I don't know what. And I'm not really that bad with heights. I have any natural fear anyone else would have, but I was absolutely nauseous. Then when we got on top of the building, we were outside in the open air, I was completely fine. It didn't bother me at all. So I don't know why being at the very top with nowhere to go and nothing but ground beneath me was less of an effect on me than inside the observation deck. It was really weird. I don't know if the trip, because it was one of those high-speed lifts to the top, maybe that messed with my stomach or something, but it was a very weird experience to be in complete safety and sick to my stomach, but then out on top in the open air in complete danger no matter where, if I took a wrong step anywhere, and I was completely fine with that.
That's crazy.
That was, I have no explanation for it.
I had the same thing, Matt, going up the stratosphere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt kind of woozy when we got up there, but then once we got outside, no problem.
Wow. Okay, that's
so
really
maybe
interesting.
it is something to do with the lift.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it threw me off a bit.
Huh. Okay,
When
well, that's
when you
actually...
step out onto the glass floors.
Yeah.
So, have anyone had any disappointment? Really major disappointments when they've gone to these rides. You've built up the anticipation, and then all of a sudden, that wonderful velvet rope comes across, and they've said, "No, sorry, the ride is closed."
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That just happened to me. The whole reason we went to Magic Mountain was to ride Superman, the one you were asking about earlier, because I have never gotten a chance to ride it, and now I'm going out of my way to ride it, and very literally, no joke, it's my turn to get on. I take one step towards the automatic doors, and they shut right in my face, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I waited. I must have waited 25, 30 minutes for them to fix whatever they were fixing, because I was not getting out of line. There's no way. So that's just one time it's happened. It's happened a lot.
I can't imagine anything like that. That would be it'd be so disappointing. Jim, have you got any stories like that?
Yeah, well, we the first time I was at the Magic Kingdom, we queued for ages to go on the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I know that's fairly tame as coasters go, but you know it's a nice ride and it's one of the sort of iconic ones. We queued for ages in the baking heat, and then just as it was getting to our turn, they shut the ride because there was thunder. And this happens quite a lot in Florida, that if there's an electrical storm passing over, they do have to shut the big rides in case of lightning strikes.
It's just ironic that you'd be at Thunder Mountain and thunder would shut
Exactly. It was just kind of me and went, I don't believe this. And they say he doesn't have a sense of humour. I think he does, you know. But we did get to go on another trip, so that was all right. But it was also just when you've queued for a long time in the hot Florida heat, and then just because there's a distant rumble of thunder, that's it. Train's closed, boys. Bollocks.
I have been on a ride that they probably should have closed but didn't, which caught fire while we were on it.
Whoa!
Okay, right. Everyone pray for the Skype not to cut out, okay?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think it was in 2008 at Lake Winnie in Georgia, which is only a small park, but they got a great wooden coaster there. And we all clambered in and on our way. And as the train got to the top of the lift hill, passed through this blur of smoke. What was that? You know, where was the smoke coming from? The train carried on, didn't think any more of it till we got back to the station, and the ride operators were chain ganging buckets of water up to the top to douse the motor, which had caught fire.
Oh my god!
And it was closed for the rest of the day after that. But it was like, Jesus, that was on fire when we were on it.
Yeah, see, now that doesn't make me want to go on it if you've got people chain ganging water up to an electrical motor. Let's all think about that for 1 second.
Oh, that's nothing. I was in charge of a ride that caught fire.
Oh, you were in charge?
Yeah. When I worked at this theme park, one of the regular rides I got to operate was like a mini little Ferris wheel. They had a little kiddies park with lots of little rides for the little ones, and they had this Ferris wheel, which was still fairly large. You get 4 people in like a closed car. And this thing was old and badly maintained. There was a permanent mechanic on the site called Nobby, and you could find him every day in the Crazy Horse Saloon, the bar that was open all day, and he was always drunk off his skull. And if you complain, look, the ride's playing up, he'd come and look at you, go, he's fucking using it wrong, and then wander back off and drink. And like, I've been complaining for weeks about this Ferris wheel was getting dickier and dickier. And one of the problems with it was it had a braking system that involved literally such a Meccano job. It had like 4 car wheels with the tires, which you pulled a lever of the brake and these sort of clamped onto the central wheel, and that would stop the wheel in theory, which was fine until there was just the slightest bit of drizzle or rain, in which case these balding old tires just wouldn't grip and you couldn't stop the damn thing. And you just, if you've ever seen a Ferris wheel, you know you have to load it one side, then revolve it and load the other side. And you do this, and the parents are all there making the funny joke, oh, you're stuck, and freaking out the kids who are, as I'm loading the ride up. Anyhow, on this particular day, I went to, you had your 3 minutes, turn the ride off. Oh, it's not stopping. The brakes have finally given up the ghost, and this ride just whizzing round and round and round. Oh. And the parents are going, yeah, you're stuck on it, you can't stop it. And I'm going, shut up, I really can't. I really cannot stop this ride. And at that point, this guy I can just hear this, what's that smell of burning? And there's like black fire coming out of the engine in the middle.
Wow.
And oh, shit. So I'm waving to the ride operators going, get Nobby, get everyone, someone help me stop this damn ride. We had to stop it by, once the motor burned out, it actually naturally slowed. But then, we had to have like 10 guys manually operating the Ferris wheel to bring the kids down, who by that point were absolutely terrified. Probably will never, ever go on another ride again in their lives.
Right.
Oh, dear Lord.
I don't think I've ever been in an experience like either of those that I am aware of. I am sure things have happened that weren't widely reported, but wow, I will live in that ignorant bliss and hope that I've never been on something on either of those two you described.
Well, the thing is, where I worked, there was a big old-fashioned wooden roller coaster called the Wild Mouse. So they're fairly standard, it's almost like built in a huge cube, and there's like about 3 or 4 tiers to it, and the car whizzes round really quickly, doing lots of tight hairpin bends. And where it was built was at the edge of the park, and there was like a big wooden sort of fence that had like poorly painted Western scenes and, looking back now, racist caricatures of American Indians on it. And that's where the staff exit was. There was like a door in the wall which you had a pass key through, and you went through there and you got to the back rooms where the lockers were, where you could clock out and escape. And the park shut at 10 o'clock. I just got my ticket box, just going home, and nearly everything else had finished, but the last ride was still going around the mouse. And I knew that the guys who operated on it, when I started, do you get free rides? And the guys were going, you probably don't want a free ride on this. This is going to collapse by the end of the summer. And we're going, yeah, of course, yeah. Everyone says that about their rides. And as I said, we were just, knocking off, going through this doorway, which led to this, little sort of passageway that went underneath the Wild Mouse. The car went over the last very top tier around a hairpin bend, and the track just collapsed behind it.
Wow.
And we all thought, we all stopped and watching, going, oh my God, we nearly saw a huge accident. I thought, well, that's that for the summer. That'll be closed. Next morning, it was working again.
What?
They got some guys in and just spot welded it back together and kind of, that'll do.
Yeah.
Flipping out.
No safety report, no inspection, nothing that's supposed to happen happened. They just bodged it back up and crossed their fingers.
See, now, how would they spot check that sort of thing? Would they have something planned, like planned maintenance and stuff like that? Or would they, once they repaired it, just put to the guys that have repaired it and go, yeah, it's all right, it's fine. If I go on it, then it's fine.
Well, supposedly there were safety checks done like every morning. And I know how lax they were. I'm going to turn it on. Is it burnt down? No, it's fine. Tick. The mechanics were supposed to check everything at the end of every day, but they didn't because they're all too pissed by then. And so, there was things in place, but it just wasn't done. People just filled in the forms and said, yeah, that's fine, when they hadn't really done anything. That was the problem.
Right, okay.
I've seen a ride mechanic cleaning the track on a roller coaster at Southampton, but by leaning out the back of the car with a handful of wire wool holding it over the rails. That was many, many years ago, but yeah.
Is that Portland's Park?
It was. No, it wasn't at Portland. It was I can't remember the name. It's a pier, but it's called the Jetliner, the coaster. It's still there now, but it was right on the seafront, and I was watching this guy going around, no safety restraint down, just leaning out the back with a handful of wire wool, holding it over the rail.
That's
just taking the rust off first thing in the morning.
That's wonderful. That's a thing to behold, really, isn't it? I would love to see something like that. It wouldn't make me want to go on them anymore.
I would imagine not.
No.
I don't think that's a selling point.
No. Yeah. Well, there are other attractions as well. Matt, in your podcast that you have, you had the episode on the Terminator 2 ride. Would you class that as a ride, or is it more like a show that's put on before you?
Yeah, it's definitely not a ride. I mean, I would classify it a ride with some kind of movement. It's not. It's a show. There's a couple of facets to it. There's a pre-show with a single performing actress, and then the show itself is primarily a 3D. The unique one about that is it's a 3D movie with a screen that goes up and down and lets actors run in and out. Like the 3D image will kind of go away as the actor is portraying one of the people on screen who come out on stage. But it's definitely, to answer your question, a show. I mean, you do not move. You're sitting in a seat with your 3D glasses. So show is a better term for that one.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can do them all day, every day. You know, that's a show. I can do that. That's
the
fine.
one at Universal, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I really enjoyed that one. I really liked the while you're queuing, it is like you're going into a conference.
Yes. Yep, that's exactly.
It's a really nice way to do it. And
yeah, yep, that's one of their first big ones. Very surprising. It's still there. I mean, it's there today, and one of their first big ones where they went to make I guess you'd call it more of an immersive experience out of the entire ride than just wait in line, see the show, and then move on. So it's a really good example of what Universal was trying to do in the early days and has evolved from there.
Yeah,
it has the animatronic Terminators that come out the walls at the end as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So you're sat there with 3D glasses on, and then you have real animatronics come out to you as well.
You have real animatronics on the sides of the theater, and you have real life people coming in and out of the screen, literally out of the screen. The screen, if you kind of just not pay attention to the movie and watch the screen, you can actually see the doors rise and open as actors run in and out. I mean, I don't recommend it for your first viewing, kind of distracting, but if you go on it a second time, take a look at it because it's actually a really neat behind the scenes thing to catch.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that would add more, just more realism to it.
Right.
If you're expecting just a 3D screen and then all of a sudden there's dirty big Terminators walking towards you, you think, whoa.
He comes out on a motorcycle. That's funny, Matt.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Right into the arena, in amongst the seats. Or at least he did when I wrote it, but that was a long time ago.
Oh, it's been around since the 90s, so it's the same one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, Back to the Future was still there when I last went.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
how long
That is a while ago.
About 10 years ago now.
Yep.
So, Greg, is there anything that you haven't gone on yet? You say you've been on over, 500 rides?
Over 500 coasters, yeah. Oh, there's still plenty more.
Are you chasing the dragon, as it were?
I used to till I had kids. Then it stopped.
Okay,
I thought that might be the excuse to go on more, but they don't like them.
Oh, they don't?
No, they've both been on a couple of small ones, and neither of them are none too keen. And,
no.
And my beloved girlfriend isn't a big fan either.
So when did the bug hit you?
The cars are completely against you.
I was 5. My dad took me on the Scenic Railway at Margate, which is reopening again soon, which is an old wooden coaster built in the 1920s. He took me on that when I was 5, and I just wanted to go on them ever since.
Right, okay.
And just kept here, there, and everywhere off to the States 7 or 8 times now on various coaster club trips and around Europe.
Oh, so you're part of a club?
I am, yeah.
Oh, that takes it to a whole new level.
There's a whole new level of geek.
Yeah, that's proper. You've got a badge and everything with a name tag.
I have, a jacket with my name on it and all that crap.
Following a man with a clipboard.
They've got a good deal with the parks. We get exclusive ride sessions before the park opens or after it closes, so you don't have to queue up. Behind the scenes access, which is pretty cool.
Mm.
But it's not bad at all. But like I said, the financial drain that our children has paid for a lot of the foreign trips, and the fact that they're not keen on the coasters either isn't of great help.
So how are you going to fill that void then? Are you just going to force the kids onto these things from now on? Or?
No, I won't force them. I mean, they'll if they grow up to decide they're going to go on them, so be it. If not, well, they can hold the fucking coats, can't they?
You say, "Oh no, this is the queue for the toilet. It's fine. Yeah. This train takes us to the toilet. It's fine."
They can be, as we call them, the bag bitch.
So what one, if you could go on something that you haven't been on yet, Greg, what would you go
on? There's a couple. There's one in New Jersey called Nitro, which I've very much wanted to go on since it opened. Not had a chance yet. there's one that's not. If I could ride one that I would, never have got to have ridden. There's one called the Crystal Beach Comet, which was pulled down back in the 50s, I think, and it was supposed to be the most insane wooden coaster ever. It was apparently had a nurse station on the exit to assist people getting off. And this thing was absolute bonkers. You have to pull 7.5, 8G on various turns, and yeah, it was totally crazy. But it pulled down a long time ago.
Blimey, that's getting up to the point where you need a flight suit to get on it.
Yeah, it was. It was short-lived, but for the time it was there, it was absolutely insane.
Right. So, out of all you three, do you have a preference on like steel coasters or wooden coasters or what? Is there nostalgia in there that you crave?
There's wooden coasters for me.
I actually will probably go on a steel first before that. But I like wooden coasters, but my preference is probably steel.
Jim?
I think I'm a steel roller coaster guy. I mean, I think my favorite roller coaster kind of growing up, and one of the kind of the biggest and baddest ones at the time in the 80s was at Alton Towers, the Corkscrew, which I went on many, many times. And I was as its name was, one of the first loop-the-loop coasters. That actually had a bit of a ride to it. Before that, there'd been the Revolution at Blackpool, which just did a loop-the-loop and then went back, and that was it. Whereas the Corkscrew actually had a proper kind of roller coaster course to it as well, and a couple of nice big drops, and that was just really fun and fast. And
right, yeah. The wooden coaster, they're more like the train running across the track, and then you don't get the loops on them, do you?
Building with loops, but
yeah, on a true traditional wooden coaster, no. There's two here, one in Branson, Missouri, that I know. There's probably more than two. Outlaw Run, which is basically a steel track on a wooden frame, and now they've done that to I forget which one. They did the one at Magic Mountain. I forget the
Colossus.
The Colossus there. Yes, it's called. They changed it to Twisted Colossus. So it's
Twisted Colossus. Yeah, and they've done it to the Cyclone at Six Flags New England as well.
Oh, did they? There too. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are.
So Six Flags are doing it to a lot of their rides, but then there's a lot of.
I mean, I guess you could call those hybrids, but it's basically
they are. I think so. Yeah.
Steel track that is running everything.
It's a steel coaster, really.
Yeah.
I prefer the traditional wooden ones, but that's just me.
Yeah. I enjoy them. My wife cannot stand those, so those are always kind of towards the end on the if we have time list. So I don't get to go on every one when I go to a park.
Oh no! Well, what about log flumes? Because this comes into that sort of thing as well. Now I have a fear. Once again, I have a fear of these type rides, and I think it comes from I was in Chessington, and these are the lamest ones you can get. But yeah, I think it's the one that Princess Diana was pictured in with the royal kids as well at one point. But I remember going up there with my parents, and it's that long chug up. There's no clicking on it. You're kind of on a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And you can see other people screaming to their death over the other side. And I think that's what puts me off. But we went on it, and I think my dad was behind me. My mum was in front of me, and my brother was also in front of me when we went on this ride. And as we went over the tipping edge, which is possibly one of the most scariest things in the world, you're not falling just yet, but you can see where you're going to be in about 30 seconds. And we were just going over there, and I was leaning forward. Everyone else in my family was leaning back. And as we went over the top, I always tense up. I grip, and my body just goes rigid. It's uncontrollable. Uncontrollable rigidness all the way through my whole body. And yet my whole family's like arms are waving in the air, and my brother's elbow came back and whacked me in the face.
Oh.
And for that 30 seconds I hated his guts so much. because he was having fun while my face was, throbbing and almost bleeding. I was probably about 9, maybe 8 at this time. So, they have no other consequence apart from, fuck me, this is brilliant. This is the best thing in the world. Whereas I'm like, no, you've just hit me in the face and I'm doing this thing I don't really want to do. And, fuck off. So, anyway, my long-winded question. Do you guys like log flumes?
That's probably on my list.
Yeah.
If there's more time after the time that we saved for the other stuff my wife didn't want to do list, actually. So, I mean, they're okay. They always, I don't know if you guys experience this. They're the longest line for anything to any park I go to over here. And it's for a long wait to go up a hill, float around and fall. It just doesn't seem, the payoff doesn't seem worth the wait.
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
They're okay to cool down, but
We've just had Sean from the Question Podcast phone in. Sean, are you there?
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Oh my God, technology
Sean.
works. How are you guys?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Good.
Going through my fears at the moment.
I've noted. I've been listening. Oh my goodness. Do you guys hear any background noise or any craziness? Because Miss Melissa's using the quote unquote good computer right now. This is not the good.
No, you're right. We can hear a fan, but I just...
That's what I was afraid of, yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, though.
I won't destroy the quality of your podcast, so I'll make my comments quick. Roller coasters. I think I have a interesting story to tell, and you'll probably think I'm crazy at the end of it for not doing something I should have done, something that everyone, when they hypothetically talk about things like this, swears they'll do. When I was little, my mother instilled it in me, for some stupid reason, that roller coasters were scary and I should never go on them. My brother and sister both loved them. I, for whatever reason, she chose me, decided, oh no, you don't want to do it. Trust me, you're not going to like them. And like an idiot, as a kid, I listened to them. And I have a distinct memory of where this took place. It was at a theme park called Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
That's near where I grew up. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Excellent. Owned by the Hershey Corporation, people who make the chocolate, as those of you across the seas like to call it, American Death Chocolate. But we enjoy it. Anyway, that notwithstanding, she beat it into my head that I shouldn't want to go on. The ride that I specifically wanted to go on was this ride called the Super Duper Looper, which, when I was a kid, was a big, scary roller coaster. By today's standards, it's pretty much a kid's coaster. Anyway, for years I didn't go on roller coasters. It wasn't until I was about 20 years old that I went on my first roller coaster at the Great American Scream Machine at Six Flags, which we call Great Adventure here in New Jersey. And I immediately became an enthusiast, and I went on roller coasters wherever I found them. I, to this day, absolutely love the thrill of a good roller coaster. The bigger the better, the faster the better, the scarier the better. But I'd never gone back and ridden the Super Duper Looper until about 10 years ago, when I happened to be in Hershey Park again. And I said, for old time's sake and to kind of right what I felt was a childhood wrong, let me ride this thing. I get on it, and I guess because it was an older roller coaster, they didn't get the better ride operators. It probably was a starter ride for a lot of young kids. The girl who was checking the lap belts whenever the lap belts came down, because this ride only required a lap belt. The girl who was riding checking the lap belts was very lackadaisical. She just did a quick walk down and tapped each one. Mine apparently did not come down all the way. And as the train is leaving the station, it's like going up. Like, it's not securely fastened. It's just me in this seat testing the law of centrifugal force in a few seconds. And I'm screaming my head off, like, the bar isn't down. I'm not secure. Whatever it was I was just screaming my head off that I'm going to die. And the guy next to me, of course, made it better, because he looks at me, he's like, "You going to die!" And, yeah, and he seemed partially excited by the prospect of watching Which, in retrospect, I should have had words with that guy. But at the time, I was just so paralyzed with fear because I was like, okay, now I'm going to find out if science really works. Fortunately, because I'm talking to you, it does work. And now why I didn't immediately sue the pants off Hershey and I don't own the American Death Chocolate, I can't say. That's one of my giant regrets in life. But I was just so happy to be alive after it was over. I just walked away from that, didn't go on a single thing the rest of the day, and look back on that as one of those moments that those defining moments where I am excited to have gone through it. It's a great story to tell. But every time I tell the story, everyone always tells me the same thing. You fucking idiot. Why didn't you sue? And that's my roller coaster story.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Awesome. Guys, I've got to go.
Brilliant.
That's all right. No worries.
Goodbye.
No worries,
I've
mate.
got to go to work. Sean, if you get a chance, tell the guys about Action Park.
Oh, my God, Action Park. It's the greatest. Oddly enough, even though I talk about surviving that roller coaster story, I put my life in peril every time I went to Action Park by choice.
Yeah, you and everybody else that went there.
Yeah, and everybody else. I mean, it was a test of manhood. It was like those tribal tests of manhood that you're going to either die or survive this and feel you've come into your own. You've become a man. Well, a lot of us to Action Park and had that experience because Action Park was the most unsafe theme park ever created.
I think it was a way of weeding out your weedier children. You took them to Action Park, and if they came back alive, you knew they were keepers.
I think yes. I think there was
almost a sacrificial.
It was evolutionary design in Action Park.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was meant to weed out the weak ones. Definitely. Just imagine.
It didn't work.
Imagine a theme park. It was a water park that ran on the philosophy of throw safety out the window. Just go for it. The best ride for me at Action Park, and take your pick, every single one of them was dangerous and had the legitimate possibility of death, and there were deaths every year at Action Park. My favorite was the Alpine Slide, which was imagine a toboggan race, or a luge, I should say, except there's no ice, it's just concrete, and you're just
a concrete trough.
It's a concrete trough, exactly, where you just sit in this little tiny car. I wouldn't even fit in one of them today, but you just sit in this tiny little rolly thing that you have full control of. You have full control of the brake, although no one ever used it, so there might as well not have been one.
They didn't even have brakes, it was just a fucking stick.
Yeah, it was a stick. You pull back to slow down, but really it just it gave you the slightest illusion of safety, but it really served no purpose. It was decorative. And the goal was to go as fast as you could, and when you hit a hill, to catch as much air as you could. But if you didn't stick the landing, you were either breaking an arm, breaking a leg, or you possibly coming off that ride paralyzed. I, to this day, still have scars from Action Park, and I wear them proudly.
Oh, wow.
Yes, people died in the wave pool every year. People got electric. They had one kayak ride that actually had there were wires for the park that ran through the water, so people died of electric current pretty much every year. It was the most insane. How it didn't get shut down earlier, it's beyond me. And it eventually was. They changed the name to Mountain Creek years later, and they did make the park safer. They did finally come in and ruin the fun. But years later now, just like within the past 2 years, the original owners of Action Park took a majority stake in ownership again, and they changed the name back to Action Park. So, even though it's no longer as frightening a place, it still now exists, at least in name only. Oh, sorry, the other great ride, the ride that ended Action Park, the ride that finally made the authorities come in and say, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
They made a looping water slide.
Sort of.
Sort of. It didn't exactly, yeah. It kind of was more like a get stuck at the bottom of it, send it down, slam into you. That was the ride that finally did it, that finally broke Action Park.
A looping...
They kind of forgot to take into account how the human body actually bends when they made that loop.
Yes,
Yeah, that loop was about 10 feet across.
It was, but you know what? I give them credit for the effort. You know, they were they were just trying to kill them faster. They wanted to up those totals every summer. It was kind of like the new Jurassic World. It's like, you know, we just make it scarier, and the greater chance of death, more people are going to want to come. Yeah. And only in the 70s and 80s could that have worked.
It's true.
You say water loop. Now, that doesn't compute to me, you know, water going uphill and across and sticking to the surface that it wants to be on.
Because exactly, it shouldn't work, but they tried it anyway, those crazy bastards.
Is this more like the, do you remember Jackass? They had that loop where they tried to get Bam Margera to do the skateboard around the loop.
Oh, no, this is much worse.
Oh, my God.
Here, I found a picture. Let me see if I can throw it in chat.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Elton, they used to test it by sending down crash dummies, and those crash dummies would come out in pieces at the bottom.
Oh,
it was so bad. It was like they got all the spare parts from all the other water slides that had been built and thought, well, what can we knock up with this?
It was like, did you ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tried to build stupid rides just to kill your visitors.
Right.
In real life, that was Action Park.
It looks like something out of Itchy and Scratchy. It really does.
It was Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Yeah, that's
in real life. Perfect analogy.
It's absolutely amazing that place, like, it holds such a special place in my heart just for the fact that it shouldn't have existed, but did.
Oh,
and I survived it. That's the thing. You know, no one wants to be in a plane crash, but if you do survive one, you're going to talk about that the rest of your life like it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah, you're going to dine out on that all the time, aren't you?
You know.
Well, I've only been there once, but that was to take the kids from summer camp there for a day out. I imagine what the parents would have thought knowing that their park was taking their kids to Action Park.
How much of the herd did you thin out on that day?
We brought them all back.
Oh, success.
Yeah, we should have tried harder. They come back with, shits and the scrapes and shit cut all over them.
And it's amazing, too, because the park also got away with things you'd never get away with today. People are too pampered today. Back then, you had, you'd go on the water raft ride. You had to carry this giant tube, up a mountain, pretty much, to get to the water ride that lasted maybe about 5 minutes, and then you'd walk the goddamn tube back up again. People wouldn't stand for that today, but back then where it was like, yes, I'm gonna do this.
Wow,
what a place.
Yeah.
Right. I've got to go, guys. I need to get to work. So it's been a pleasure.
All right.
No,
yes, it is.
And I will catch you later.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye, Greg.
Bye.
I am going to take off as well, gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be on and to have you guys back. Long live the lab.
No worries. Thank you very much for calling in, mate.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, man. Bye.
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 Bye. Right, talking of stuff that is ridiculously bad, I'm going to stick this link in the chat room for you guys. Did any of you see this? I think it came up yesterday. And we had, it's a catapult ride.
Oh, I've not seen this. I mean, I've seen this ride. There's a ride here that's a permanent attraction not far from the house, but I've not seen what this headline says this did.
Well, take a moment to watch the video, because I guarantee you will not be going on this after. I will talk the listeners through this. What you have is one of these bungee cages where you're catapulted up into the air, and we've all seen the videos where the little kids get in there and they're not strapped in properly enough, and they're fired up into the air, and we all laugh at the kids' terrified faces. And this is a very similar cage with the two bungees on either side that's going to throw the occupants maybe 100 feet into the air, I suppose. I'm not too sure how high these things go. And at the very last second, the bungees on the capsule's right-hand side give way, just before they're due to release this thing into the air. Now, I'm sure it would have lasted one more ride, but you do not want to see that happen, do you?
Mm-mm.
It's the scariest thing in the world.
It's like I'm still not at the snap point yet. I'm like desperately anticipating it.
I'm going to hang on until you see that because it is well worth it.
Yeah, I don't dare scrub forward in case I miss it. It's only a 2-minute video, not even.
I can hear the anticipation already.
Holy shit! Whoa!
Tightening.
Wow!
Ooh.
Man, not only is that frightening for the ride, but if he got hit by that, oh my God, could have snapped his arm.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Holy shit.
Now, I'm assuming in Jim's day, they would have just sellotaped that back up and said, yeah, it's all right.
They would have done, definitely.
Or just maybe use the other bungee on the other side.
Just take those two on
So
each
back
side.
in my day, that would have been the most popular ride for the rest of the summer.
See,
I mean,
nowadays...
the summer before I worked at that park, there'd been a death on the roller coaster. It was called the Texas Stampede. And it was because some idiot had undone his safety belt. Because it was the old stock like airplane belts.
Mm-hmm.
He'd undone it and stood up and managed to time his standing up. So as he went down a dip, his head collided with an overhanging beam and it took his head clean off.
Oh.
Took a long time to clean up that ride. There's blood on the entire length of track, apparently, the guys who'd been working there summer before. But the summer I was at, that ride was popular, unbelievable. And you could hear all the people talking about it. Some guy died on this last year. We've got to go on that.
We got to go.
That's the action park principle in action.
Yeah. See, now, things in... I don't know if, Matt, you've heard about this, but things in theme parks have taken a bit of a dark turn recently. Have you heard the events here?
Yeah, I was. We're not actively planning a trip, but that is something we're going to do in the next 2 years. Is get to the Alton Towers, and maybe we'll put another year on that wait at this point until they get a couple more things fixed and up the maintenance.
It might be worth. Yeah, it might be worth your while. See, I've spent the day at Alton Towers with my missus, and this was before we had kids. And bearing in mind, I don't like these sort of things, as I've said before, but we walked up there, we stayed in a bed and breakfast just around the corner from there, got a taxi from the bed and breakfast to Alton Towers, and then proceeded to walk around all of Alton Towers looking up. And I think we queued up for maybe 3 or 4 rides, which were the tamest ones there, went on the Bubble Works. That was very, very good fun. I highly recommend that to any thrill seeker that they want to, go in a tunnel on a boat with bubbles blowing around them. That's brilliant. Apart from
Not
that,
quite sure that'll quantify my entire cost to get over there for just that ride.
But I'm quite happy to put myself up for a hat stand or coat stand for you. I don't mind doing that. I'll tell you what, I'll even come along, I'll meet you there, I'll queue up for you. And
there you go. No.
And then you go off and do another ride, and then by the time you get back, you're 5 people from the front. So go on then.
That sounds good.
I'll go queue up somewhere else. It'll be brilliant.
I mean, plus in England, we also get things like this happening. Last summer, at another British theme park, they had another bloody accident. Of where, Lightwater Valley, where a deer strayed onto the track of the roller coaster and got decapitated.
Oh my word!
Covering everyone on the coaster in deer blood.
I think this rings a bell. I'm actually surprised I haven't heard more of this where I grew up, because I grew up right in the middle of where the last gentleman that called, I forgot his name already, where he was talking about that Hershey Park. There's another park called Dorney Park. There's Six Flags. That's all in the base of the Pocono Mountain Range, which is all wooded area and a lot of wildlife. I can't believe I've not heard more about things like this while I was growing up.
I'd imagine venison was on the table.
Yeah, right. There was an unusual amount of game meat at the food courts. I don't know why.
See, I've heard these sort of stories where people have climbed over catch fences to get and high five people on roller coasters. Are some of these stories really true, that people have been decapitated, lost hands, lost fingers, and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's couple instances of people jumping fences around here for the dumbest thing, like to grab a hat that, I mean, just go spend the $10 or whatever it was to buy another one for the dumbest thing. Jump the fence at the wrong time, and as they are caught between, can't get out of where they're going, and the ride's coming, and bam, that's it. It's happened. There's an idiot that jumped out. Speaking of a log flume, which seems one of the most safest rides to be on, some idiot jumped out of the one at Disney, the Splash Mountain, jumped out, got in the water, got struck in the head, and not completely decapitated, but killed him. And yeah, people just do dumb things. I mean, I think we're talking natural selection at this point, not really the fault of the ride.
Oh yeah. You know, if you're gonna do that, then it is natural selection. It is Darwin at action, really. Isn't it? Have you ever been on these rides and taken a camera with you? Then, you know, talking about decapitation and losing hats and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot more people with these phone cameras. Oh my god, I sound so old. Phone cameras. What the hell was that? iPhones. That's what I meant. And GoPros and such. So, you know, would that appeal to you to take like a phone on there and maybe video your experiences on there?
I used to a long time ago, actually before smartphones and any camera in any phone. When I'd have to buy something that fit in the best I could into both my hands, that I could kind of cover them and hide it under my shirt. But now it's too much work, because there's actually metal detectors at Universal Studios for the big roller coasters, the things where they can fly off and out of your pocket now. So I've given up that hobby a long time ago. It's just too much trouble, and people actually arrange with the parks. These theme park bloggers arrange with the parks to actually mount GoPros and get much better video than I would anyway. So it's not even worth doing for me, and it's not worth getting a lifetime ban from a park if you do get caught, because I enjoy it too much.
Yeah. So I've seen pictures of people duct taping phones to their hands, but I don't think that would wash somehow.
Yeah, it's probably not the most, not the best video of the ride online, I would imagine.
Yeah. It also reminds me, Jim would know this. Matt, have you ever heard of a man called Jimmy Savile?
No.
Okay, Jim, was this in the 80s? Or I'm talking about the was it the Scout troop that went on the roller coasters?
Oh, I know who this is now. I just did a search online. I know. Yeah, okay.
Right, okay.
I do know.
When you're Googling Jimmy Savile, be very careful.
Yeah, I'm not going any further. I work for a European company, and when this broke, when the bad news of him broke about a year or two ago, they filled me in on the details of who this was. So I do know who you're talking about now.
Yep. That's I love the way you say the bad news about him. Flipping hell. But yeah, I remember this. This was a staple part of our diet on TV, watching these. It was every year this video would be wheeled out and shown on TV on the top 10 funniest moments on British TV. And now it's, I don't know, it's just kids getting covered in drinks and stuff like that, isn't it? But, you know, do you reckon that'd be allowed now?
I think they probably wouldn't allow it now. It would be too much of a hazard. I mean, because it was on a program, for anyone who doesn't know, called Jim Will Fix It, where kids wrote in and he made their wishes come true. But they're always like really, well, the kind of wishes I had as a growing lad. He never answered my reply for lots of hookers and coke, I'll tell you that much. But well, this is
apparently you didn't ask the right way from the story I know.
Well, this is true, yes, yeah. Well, this Boy Scout troop, wrote in and said, could we have a picnic on the? It was on the Revolution at Blackpool, wasn't it? On the first Loop the Loop coasters.
I think so,
yeah. And so they did this, and so the footage is hilarious. It's probably on YouTube of kids that are opening bottles of soda and lemonade and coca, while traveling at a high speed, and all the liquid just streaming out behind them, and packets of crisps just exploding, and sandwiches just being blown away by centrifugal force.
That I'll have to check out. That does sound actually pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it just turned up for years and years because it was just it was funny and slapstick and surreal. But I mean, now I can't see them doing it because it would just be too much of a hazard. They'd be fearing lawsuits left, right, and centre.
True.
Oh yeah,
and a food hygiene inspection.
Yeah.
with like burgers on track and stuff like that. Flipping out. If the wrong leaves can stop British Rail, then yeah, a burger on track should be able to stop a roller coaster ride. But there was always that person that you'd see like a Mary Rose ride where you have the boat swing from left to right constantly, and there was always that person that had their money fall out on there as well, and you'd hear the screams as they go up, and then it comes down, the screams as they go up and come down, and then all of a sudden you hear shit, and then the plinky plonky of money scattering everywhere, and you would end up with herds of kids just hanging around these things waiting for the money to drop. It's a new version of the wishing well, but, but you weren't allowed underneath the boat to get these things. But I do remember seeing that, and I think, was it my mum was actually one of them people as well? I'm pretty sure my mum lost about £8 in small change on one of them things. Or it could have been like a Aladdin's flying carpet, which was pretty much the same sort of thing, but held up by 4 struts, and so you would do circles, but where you're actually sitting, the board would stay parallel to the floor, and so you'd swing one way, and then it would go anti-clockwise, and then clockwise, and then anti-clockwise, and yeah, she lost tons and tons of money on them things. But yeah, they're the sort of things that I suppose I look out for, you know, like we said earlier on, like the Where's Waldo type thing.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's something to put on a scavenger hunt. That's a big pointer. Yeah, someone actually sees something fall from a ride. That should be at least 10 points on my scavenger hunt.
You're going to have to put deer on there now. And
oh, God, yeah, that's right.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep.
You'll be reloading that list as soon as you can. Right. Do we have anything more to say on roller coasters or amusements at this point?
Yes and no. I mean, I could talk endlessly about it, but it would be probably way too boring. So. Oh,
no. It's just me that I don't have the experiences. You know, I've never really wanted to go to these places, so I don't have the experience of going on numerous amounts of rides and getting the buzz off of them. So that's where I'm falling down on this subject.
What ride have you been on that you really enjoyed, though, that you might like to see again?
Oh, well, I don't know. I did mention the vampire ride, and it's because it's just an easy ride. But I get more fun now going to these places watching other people have fun. It's like the cliche thing about Christmas, you know, giving is better than receiving. Bollocks, getting is wicked as well. We all know that. But yeah, watching my son, he was gagging to get onto these rides, and we took him down to Portland's Park, and it is a very tame place, to say the least. While we was down there, I was staying with my cousins, and we said, you know, would you like to come to Portland's Park? And he went, yeah, okay, let's go. So we were all going to go as a big group of family. Then we looked on the internet and saw how much it was. And my cousin at that point bailed out and said, bollocks, I used to climb the fence and get in there for free. I am not paying £40 per person to get in there. So, okay, fine. So we went as a group of 4, just my family. And the thrill that he had going on these rides, because they were his first roller coasters, and the fun that I had when he was dragging me onto these things. You know, bearing in mind, I didn't want to be on it, and it's all through gritted teeth of, yeah, sure, let's go on that again and again. And yeah, but the fun that he was having was more than enough for me to, you know, maybe go on it once or twice. Okay. But yeah, I don't really get that thrill of anything else. In the meantime, he's been to, was it Chessington? Yeah, he's been on the vampire ride, and he said that was lame. And I just hung my head in shame. I was like, okay,
Aw.
fine. He had fun on it, but he was, yeah, Dad, come on, you got to man up, man. So yeah, they're just not for me. They really
Okay.
aren't. Jim, have you got anything else to add?
I've lost track who's left on the call now.
Oh, it's me, Jim,
Jim,
and you.
is that who's still here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask Matt, actually, what are
Yes,
your
no?
top tips for
lose
avoiding
everybody?
queues at parks?
Hello?
Hello, Matt. Are you still
Hello?
there? Oh, I think we're losing Matt. Jim, you still there?
I'm still
anybody
there,
hear
yeah.
me?
Matt?
Hello, Matt. Can you hear us?
No, I think he's dropping off. No. Oh, what a shame. I'll tell you what, I'll call him back.
Okie dokie.
I'll add him on again. Hang on a second.
My top tip if you're visiting a theme park is go there, get there early, and then go to the rides at the far end of the park. Because human nature dictates that people will all start queuing at the rides nearest the entrance.
Mm.
Want the shortest queue? Go right to the back. Go right to the other end of the park and start.
Yeah, I would go with that. Matt, are you still there?
Yeah, I am now. I dropped out for a little bit. I heard the end of what Jim just said.
Oh, okay, cool. Go on, Jimmy was going to ask him something.
I was going to ask Matt, what's his top tips for avoiding queues for rides?
You hit my number one. In fact, I was writing an article for. It's not for rides. It's for. I don't know if you guys heard of Halloween Horror Nights down here.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's the. I'm writing it for. We do a podcast just on the history of that, and I was writing an article for that. But it holds the same. It is go to the complete opposite end of the park of the entrance, I should say, and start there. Especially, or if you're whatever particular ride is over in that area, that is the best thing to do. Don't go. That stands for anything. Don't go to the first restaurant. Don't go to the first bar. Don't go to the first anything at an entrance of a theme park. Go to the opposite, about as far away from the entrance as you can get. And yeah, that is the number one tip. This whole new facet of a second pass with the express pass and fast pass, though, is just something that is so hard not to take advantage of, and that's really what we do when we go to a park for our first time. We end up buying that too. So my tips are waning because now I'm kind of cheating by buying these front of the line passes. But the opposite end of the entrance is always, and I think will always be, the number one tip.
Mm. See, I've heard some of these parks that they're shaped in pretty much a circle, and it is you have the tendency to turn left as you go into the park. And I've heard the tip of turn right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can pretty much beat everyone to the right-hand side of the park, whereas everyone else is going to the left-hand side of the park and then working their way across. And so, that would be my tip if you're going to a circular park, which is, I don't know if that's a good tip or not.
Actually, it is. I can picture that working with both Universal parks. It would work with Magic Kingdom. Hollywood Studios is a weird layout. I'm not sure about that one, but it would work with Epcot, and it would work from what I can remember with Animal Kingdom. So of the 6 big ones here, I can attest that for at least 4, if not 5, that is absolutely correct. So that's another good one.
Oh, okay, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Jim, have you got any tips?
No,
Don't die?
don't die. Don't look behind the scenes. It'll terrify you. And if you've got kids, don't let them climb all over the poor sods in the character costumes. We had one at Frontierland called Frontierland Fred, and it's nowhere near as hot in Morecambe in the summer as it is in Orlando. And that guy, you kept passing out from heat exhaustion. So,
Ooh, that's, you know what? That's funny you say that. This is something that a lot of people don't know. Anyone that is coming in summer in Orlando, first, you're stupid to come to Orlando in summer. It's just too hot. But if you do, a thing a lot of people don't know is that the counter service, like the counter service food, not the restaurants where you get a table, but where you go up to the counter with your tray and whatnot, a lot of those, if not all of them, at the major theme parks here will give you a cup of ice water during these summer heats to stay hydrated. So take advantage of that. Don't don't get dehydrated because you don't want to pay the exorbitant amount for a bottle of water. Go into those places and get your free water because it costs more for them to scoop you off the ground passed out than it does to give you a free cup of water.
Ah. Good tips. Because all my daughter drinks is water. She doesn't drink anything else apart from chocolate milkshake and water. And, God knows how she survived this long. I do not know. But it's great, no rotting teeth or anything. But keep bottled up, kids. There we go. Safety tips and everything on here. Right, okay. I think I'm going to draw it to a close because my knowledge of roller coasters is waning now. Matt, would you like to plug the shit out of everything that you do, please?
I can't do everything. It'll take too long. But I will say everything we do is at neozaz, neozaz.com. And I'm not sure what show. I'm guessing Star Wars in Character is probably what the first one you would listen to and had you contact me is my guess. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Well, I was introduced to Star Wars in Character by Anthony James.
Oh, Anthony. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, big thank you to Anthony for pointing me in this direction. And then I've gone from Star Wars in Character. I did the Matt Goes Goofy.
Oh wow.
It almost inspired me to run.
Oh wow.
Not
cool.
Quite. But
no, that's
almost.
fine. That's
That's close enough as far as I'm concerned. I've also done Pass the Popcorn, and I don't do the Trailer Park Boys because I can't get along with that. So
that's. I mean, that is a companion show. I mean, if you don't watch the show, there's no point listening to it. So I don't blame anyone for that. That's for sure. But that's. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Attraction Obsession. God,
okay.
Tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, everything you mentioned everything's at neozaz.com. All those shows and more. And anyone that's listening to this for the theme park aspect, the two that we have related to that is Attraction Obsession, like you mentioned. That's a bit of a beast, so there's not many of them because it takes so long to produce, but I am trying. The other one to that, companion to that, is Catacombs of Halloween Horror Nights, where we talk about the Halloween Horror Nights Universal Studios. It's collectively everyone that I do shows with on all the other shows you mentioned come down here in October, and we have a blast at that. So those are the two theme park related ones, but there's a ton of other stuff. It's basically, not even basically, it is a bunch of friends that have known each other for decades that are recording themselves catching up with each other every week. Just happens to be about a particular subject on whatever show you pick. So we have a lot of fun, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it, which is awesome. That's great. So, but that's it. Everything and that and more, I should say, is at neozaz.com.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend absolutely everything coming out of that network. Hold my hands up, just go for it, and just dive in and absorb as much as you can.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
No worries. Jim, also plug the shit out of your stuff.
Right. You can hear me every week on my own show, Hypnogoria, where currently I'm still knee-deep in a huge Christopher Lee retrospective. And I talk about weird stuff, basically. Horror-related, but not exclusively horror. I do lots of comic-y stuff and sci-fi stuff and whatever takes my fancy, really. And you can find that on iTunes, at Geek Planet Online, and at other places too, probably I've forgotten. And you can also hear me every week on the, along with Elton, on the Black Dog podcast every week, where we review classic movies and then a not-so-classic movie.
Yes.
And you can also hear me and Elton on Witless for the Defense. Also on Geek Planet Online, where we put your guilty pleasure movies on trial.
Yes. Oh, and I can also say, Matt, do you have any guilty pleasure movies that no one else really enjoys?
The one off the top of my head is... I don't remember the year. I think it's a late 90s movie, Rocket Man, with Harlan Williams. It's a terrible Disney family-esque Disney dirty comedy, and of course, it's not dirty, but it's I don't know why it makes me laugh so damn much. My wife cannot stand when I put it on.
I'm just going to go to the HMV and look for Dirty Disney from now on.
I know. I was like, that's the worst. I mean, there's dirty movies and there's there's Disney trying to be dirty. It's fart jokes. That's as far as they go. They cross that line and think it's hilarious. That's real, and there's a long sequence of fart jokes. So
yeah, well, that sort of movie is what myself, Jim, and the Lord Chief Justice Chris Johnson put on trial, and then we talk about the movies and then decide whether they are fit for adult consumption or should be burned into the middle of the sun. So
I just looked it up on IMDb. It's 97, and it actually has a 5.9 rating on IMDb, which I find surprisingly high. I expected to see it in the 2 or 3 range.
Excellent. Well, can I say thank you very much for joining us on here, Matt?
Oh, yeah, it's my pleasure.
No, absolutely excellent. And Jim, thank you very much again, as always.
My pleasure.
Right. And to the people left in the chat room, thank you very much for joining us in there. Sorry, I'm not very good at that. I can only do one thing at once. Otherwise, I'd crash the shit out of this thing. Even though you've heard it live, doesn't mean you get out of downloading it from iTunes, you cheeky little cheapskates. So please, once it's released, go there, download it. You don't have to listen to it. You can just download it. It's fine. And
that is a pitch I've never tried. That is brilliant. I will be doing that on my shows now.
See, bleeding across the Atlantic. Anyway, yeah, so people in the chat room, thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you next time, and I'm going to press stop on the recording now and then chat with these two guys offline. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.